market technician. All right, Nvidia has been one of the outperformers within the Mag 7. What trends are you noticing in this chart, Rick?
An outperformer that seems to be moderating somewhat here. If you look at our comparison chart, Nvidia up 31.5%, but the SMH semiconductor ETF up 44%. So it's outperforming tech, but underperforming its more specific subsector. And when you look more closely at kind of the other major names, it's only doing better than Qualcomm, really, which is up 10%, but Broadcom, AMD, Intel, these are the outperformers. You know, even among strong stocks, there can be some degree of cyclicality. Nvidia was the extreme outperformer. Now it's kind of moderating. Now the other ones, perhaps it's their turn to catch up a little bit. But when we do look here at our yearly candle chart, we can see that our downward sloping trend line, starting with these highs, seems to have been broken now. We've closed above that level. Today's mark price is not too far off from yesterday's close, but we did manage to break above that particular level. 165 to 170 stands out as a supportive area based on these old low points and these stopping points for price, as well as right here more recently. Meanwhile, 188 is our relative high. That's our red line right about here. So if we were to look at our moving averages that we follow, everything is kind of coming together right in this area near 180. We have managed to close above it. So we had a confluence between our trend line and between our three moving averages. RSI also exhibiting a corresponding breakout above its own trend line, as well as above its 50 midline here. Finally, if we were to look at volume profile, we are moving above the heavy volume concentration area that we have here, our point of control. So a prolonged period where we stay above this area and it holds on as support would be bullish for the crowd looking for further upside.
All right, and then the example trade, what's the approach there?
So a more neutral outlook here today. We did get a bounce in the AI and tech names here, but perhaps not out of the woods yet. So when we look at our expected move here for January, 7.5% plus or minus here, this orange box, the trade in question then would be an iron condor. -1 January 16th, 205, 200, 205, 170, 165 iron condor at a 130 credit here. So 24 days out, max profit is the credit received, 130. Max loss is 370 here for this risk-defined trade. Break-evens are 7.8% to the downside and about 10% to the upside here. So our expected move lines up very closely with that downside area. Basically, you're just looking for everything to stay within those boundaries here. So that area to the upside as well, 200 to 205, that's beyond our expected move. That's near those all-time highs. So if you're looking for a place of potential resistance, that seems like a likely place to start looking. Meanwhile, 170 to 165 was our supported area.
Tuesday saw an increase in Nvidia shares, continuing a three-day trend as optimism about U.S. chipmakers was boosted by fresh rumors of a possible restart of GPU shipments to China. As of this writing, Nvidia's stock was trading at $185.50, up about 1%. After being under pressure in recent weeks due to worries about export limitations, valuation fatigue, and volatility in the artificial intelligence trade, the company has been trying to end the year on a higher note. The most recent optimism comes after a string of reports indicating that U.S. officials would permit restricted exports of cutting-edge AI chips to China, reigniting discussion about the potential additional revenue that firms like Nvidia and AMD could produce should permissions come to pass. The prospect alone has caused analysts and investors to re-examine upside scenarios that had been mostly written off earlier in the year, even though no final decisions have been verified. Experts on Nvidia's potential victory in China. Simon Leopold, a Raymond James analyst, said that because there are so many unanswered questions, predicting the result is still challenging. The structure of U.S. export permits, the position of Chinese authorities, and how recently proposed government levies would be reflected in pricing and accounting are a few examples. Nevertheless, Leopold presented what he called hopeful but realistic prospects for AMD and Nvidia. Leopold calculated that AMD may get between $500 million and $800 million in additional sales from China, which would result in an increase of $0.10 to $0.20 in non-GAAP earnings per share. Alibaba-related China-compliant accelerator orders have been the focus of market conjecture. Sources indicate that between 40,000 and 50,000 MI308 units are needed. Leopold pointed out that around the middle of that range, a $15,000 chip could generate about $675 million in revenue, probably over a number of quarters. the revenue possibility is much greater for Nvidia. A limited reopening of the China market, according to Leopold, could provide an extra $7 billion to $12.5 billion in revenue, or about $0.15 to $0.30 in non-GAAP EPS upside in 2026. The possible restart of H200 GPU shipments to significant Chinese hyperscalers and internet corporations has been the subject of conjecture. The financial impact could be significant even for relatively small volumes. With longer-term scenarios involving up to 350,000 to 500,000 units over time, Leopold stated that tens of thousands of units sold at anticipated average selling prices of $20,000 to $25,000 could swiftly generate billions of dollars in revenue. Leopold emphasized, however, that China still accounts for a comparatively minor portion of Nvidia's total data center revenue. As newer platforms continue to ramp, growth through 2026 is anticipated to be driven mostly by enterprise customers, U.S. hyperscalers, and sovereign AI efforts. Additional help is provided by a broader AI spending cycle. In addition to developments unique to China, Nvidia's surge coincides with increased optimism over AI investment worldwide. According to Barclays analysts quoted in a CNBC story, the U.S. is currently experiencing its biggest capital expenditure cycle in decades, driven primarily by investments in AI infrastructure. The company claims that during the last 3 years, between 75 and 80% of the S&P 500's overall performance and profits growth have come from AI-related stocks. In 2026, Barclays anticipates improved regulatory conditions and improving financial conditions to further support equities prices, especially for cyclical and growth-oriented industries. According to Barclays analysts, AI is the most important factor influencing risk assets and the economy as a whole in 2026. They also noted that the amount of investment already made makes it challenging to predict the sector's future influence. Even as investors continue to consider the incremental and still uncertain upside from any reopening of the China market, Nvidia's larger AI narrative continues to be the company's primary long-term driver. Nvidia and AMD's stock increased by roughly 0.5% on Tuesday as analysts emphasize China's potential for revenue growth. According to Raymond James, if recent U.S. export licenses result in sizable orders, both businesses might see moderate gain. In a letter to clients, analyst Simon Leopold predicted that AMD may earn between $500 million and $800 million more in 2026, which would equate to $0.10 to $0.20 in non-GAAP earnings per share. Additional revenue for Nvidia could range from $7 billion to $12.5 billion, or $0.15 to $0.30 in non-GAAP EPS. President Trump authorized the sale of Nvidia's H200 GPUs to China earlier this month. Alibaba may purchase between 40,000 and 50,000 of AMD's MI308 AI accelerators, according to reports. Leopold calculated that AMD might make about $675 million over a number of quarters from the possible Alibaba acquisition. Analysts warned that there are still factors that could impact the outcome, such as geopolitical threats and regulatory permissions. You'll probably experience the regret of not investing sooner if you wait long enough. Many investors, including myself, have that thought about Nvidia these days. And it's simple to understand why when you consider how well it has performed over the last 10 years. A $1,000 investment made 10 years ago would now be worth almost $225,000 thanks to Nvidia's stock, which has increased by an astounding 20% in the last 10 years. Bring up the topic of return on investment. Although Nvidia has been listed on the stock market since January 1999, the most of its gains have occurred in the last few years as a result of the continuous surge in artificial intelligence, AI. Providing graphics cards for video games was Nvidia's primary business for a while. But the business discovered that the same technology could be used to analyze enormous volumes of data, and it is currently arguably the most significant provider of computing power. It's not too late if you want to invest in Nvidia, but I don't think its advances over the next 10 years will be comparable to those of the last 10. It still has the potential to beat the market in the long run, but it would be unrealistic to expect the gains to be repeated. Alphabet is currently the top AI software business, and the stock market is rapidly realizing this. It is less than $200 billion away from surpassing Apple as the second largest firm in the world, and it has already surpassed Microsoft. With a $755 billion advantage over Google, Nvidia will need to put in a little more effort to overtake the leader in AI hardware. Fortunately for Google, Wall Street now considers that figure to be minuscule. There are still those pessimists who think AI will eventually replace Google as the leading search engine. However, there are many issues with that claim. Google is starting to enter the AI hardware market and is making acquisitions, so even Nvidia may face competition. Let's examine whether or not Alphabet will surpass all other companies in 2026 as a result of this momentum. It was thought that Google would die when Microsoft combined ChatGPT with its Bing search engine. The problem was that users never stopped using Google. AI could never match the dependability of a direct search, and ChatGPT was never a 1-1 substitute for what Google delivered. After that, Alphabet started outperforming Microsoft and OpenAI at their own game. Google has made remarkable strides since its initial AI Bard release, which was hurried and unsatisfying. Following the debut of the Gemini 3 Pro, which quickly dominated the leaderboards, OpenAI is currently in code red mode. 4 of Google's AI models are among the top 10 on LLM Arena. That is unmatched by any other business. Anthropic and xAI both have 2 models in the top 10, while OpenAI's only model is ranked 8th. Google does significantly better when you go beyond text AI models. OpenAI's GPT picture is dwarfed by their most recent Nano Banana Pro image model. The business is even at the forefront of text-to-video models. All of that is being done by Alphabet while controlling expenses. Cash on the balance sheet grew from $19.96 billion in Q3 2024 to $23.09 billion in Q3 2025, and it hasn't made any significant investments in AI. Rivals in AI, such as Meta platforms, have incurred net debt. Why there is no way to replace Google's search business. The core search engine company, the cloud business, and other companies like YouTube will be safe if Google's competitors manage to get their bearings and win the AI race. Customers have not demonstrated a desire to persist with an alternative when it comes to search. The primary reason for this is that Google owns the search bar and supplies everything they require. Few consumers are ready to put up with the additional inconvenience of looking on another AI website and waiting for an answer. You can, however, simply utilize your search bar. Google will provide you with an AI response, with all of the standard results displayed beneath it. Are Nvidia's AI GPUs in danger? Alphabet's strengths extend beyond software. With its TPUs and Axion CPUs, Google has made a significant push into the bespoke silicon market. Given that the hardware is significantly less expensive and more energy efficient, it has the potential to upend Nvidia's near monopoly. Google and Meta are in talks to purchase TPUs valued at billions of dollars, with Anthropic, an AI startup, having already purchased 1 million of them. This money would have otherwise gone to Nvidia. Today, Nvidia's threat from Google is greatly understated. This might, however, be a rerun of how Google's AI was dismissed before taking over. In my opinion, Alphabet will surpass all other companies in the world in size either this decade or in 2026. It is anticipated that EPS will increase from an estimated $10.56 in 2025 to more than $26 in 2031. By then, EPS should be above 30.7, according to some analysts. Additionally, revenue is anticipated to continue expanding at a very robust rate, potentially doubling between 2025 and 2030. Despite having all of its eggs in one basket, Nvidia will continue to develop at an even quicker rate. Google is threatening that basket. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
When you hear data centers in space, does it make you laugh, shake your head, or go, yeah, this is actually what's coming, and we're starting to think about the build-out for this already?
Well, at first I thought it was bunkers.
Yeah.
And then when you dig in, you actually realize that there are very specific developments that are driving the narrative. And we think it's going to be front and center for investors over the next 12 to 24 months. And that's why we wrote the report that we did.
What are the developments that make this not a science fiction narrative, but a real possibility?
Yeah, sure thing. It may still be a science fiction narrative, right? But let's step back. So the real constraint of the world, we're running out of electricity. Our point is that even without the AI, because of electrification, the U.S. was not going to have enough capacity to meet the demand, right? So right now, if you want to build a data center, you have to get in line, you have to get your grid connection. On top of it, the regulators now want you to do things to the data center because data centers are incredibly disruptive to the grid. So, why are people thinking about space? Space is cold.
There's no NIMBY issues?
Well, that's exactly right. It's much less regulation, right? So you escape regulation. There's plenty of sunshine. You can generate 8 to 10 times the energy from sun that you can on Earth, and it's cold, right? So you don't have to worry about cooling. So why all of a sudden there are these headlines? So the magic number, the way the math works, is that operating data centers, not just electricity availability, it's also expensive. So 40% of operating cost of a data center is electricity.
Wow.
And what's happening, the magic number, if you can launch things at space at $200 per kilo, all of a sudden the math starts working that the cost of launch equals the value of all the electricity that you're going to consume.
Is this purely hypothetical, or are there people who have kind of a proven capability to go and do this?
Well, so this is where it gets interesting. So if you look at the developments, there is a project, there's a Star Cloud project. It was launched in October, and Nvidia talked about it. Now, this is one GPU launched in space. I think it's like 1 kW.
A small step for man.
It's a very small step. More important step, there was also a Suncatcher paper out of Google. So that got a lot of people's attention. But the most important thing is that it's what's taking place at SpaceX, right? And you have Starship Block 3 that's going to become operational next year. And that actually is supposed to get you on this path of getting to 200 per kilo by the end of the decade, right? And in fact, Musk is also talking about Starlink V3 having this AI capability. So all of a sudden, it went from almost science fiction. And by the way, people were talking about since 1940s, right?
It's always like 2 steps ahead. It's fascinating to watch how this could all. Tell me which other companies. Obviously, we might have a SpaceX IPO next year. This will be a big narrative in that. Who else in your coverage space, if I said, I just want to get invested in this now to potentially benefit from any upside here?
Look, so we have a different analyst who covers that entire complex. But for us, the reason we wrote the report, because we actually started to get inbound calls. It was more like, who's going to get out of business? Who's going to get driven out of business because of that?
Right. Is it time to abandon all the data centers?
That's exactly right. Do you need electricity? Do you need power? So our takeaway is that there's still plenty to do on planet Earth. Right?
How reassuring.
Right. And, there is a timeline. And I think realistically, we've spoken to some CEOs in our coverage. And people think it's more 2035, 2040, where it becomes at scale. So the most interesting thing that we looked at it as a threat to the existing infrastructure. But the reality, if you look at, if you look at the Star Cloud project, right, still has CDUs. You still need to cool the chips. You still need to process the electricity.
Heard that, yeah.
And what's also interesting, on top of it, you have to dump this heat into space, which actually becomes a very sophisticated